let's just, go a little bit more macro here in the few minutes I have left with you, and how quickly quarterbacks who are getting drafted first round, second round are getting, the gate. They're getting sent somewhere else. I mean, just take a look at the 2021 draft class. First round picks. Trevor Lawrence is the only guy still with his team, and now he's being backed up by the guy who was chosen 14 picks later with, Mac Jones. And Justin Fields got sent away essentially because Caleb Williams is sitting right there first overall. I get it. So that's the long wind up for this pitch. Do you think, in the way that we're seeing quarterbacks get sent elsewhere quickly, do you think if the Panthers somehow had the first overall pick, let's just say Ryan Poles in his one slip up building the Bears, do you think that he would, if he had left the Panthers with the first overall pick, do you think if the Panthers were first overall right now, they would swap out Bryce Young for Caleb Williams? Mel Kiper.
It's a great question. That's a great question. And guess what? Justin Fields would have been with the Bears, and the Bears would have been happy moving forward with him. History would have been rewritten. There's no question about that.
Right.
Bryce Young, I don't know how, if you loved him when you drafted him, you wouldn't love him still now based on the fact that he got beat up. And the one question, Rich, was size, right? We never saw a quarterback. We've seen quarterbacks short, Russell Wilson, right? Shorter than you prefer, have great success. But when you're small, I'm talking about small, diminutive quarterback, okay, 5'10", 185, 190 when he's playing. That was a manufactured 205, 206, whatever it was. They knew that. He got beat up. His offensive line, Ole block after Ole block. But what did he do, Rich? He beat C.J. Stroud, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We saw in college, Rodney Peete beat Troy Aikman. Who cares, right? Bottom line is one game, but he stayed healthy. He finished the year, and he wasn't injured. Okay, so that, I think, spoke volumes of his toughness, and they knew his size when he came in. Get him an offensive line, get him some receivers, and then let's evaluate Bryce Young. So to answer your question, I think they would have to stick with Bryce Young. I don't know how you cut ties with Bryce Young when you gave him nothing to work with. Okay, and now everything's been changed out from a coaching standpoint. So now back to where we are again with Bryce Young. Now, I think Bryce Young, it would be totally unfair to him to cut ties based on a year where he had no help.
I know, but it seems to be, an unfair world that we're seeing more and more when it comes to asking.
You know why, Rich?
What?
You got to hit the grand slam. A single double in this league right now with Mahomes winning all these Super Bowls is not good. Everybody has to cut ties with a guy that they don't see the ability to get to here. They think you can get to here, but not here. They're cutting ties. And they're trying to hit not the home run, in some cases, a grand slam.
And is that why they decided to, in Chicago, send Fields to Pittsburgh and then give Caleb Williams a shot because they think he's got the ability to go up here, and they're doubtful that Fields could, essentially? Is that it?
What do GMs and head coaches want, Rich? The guys that they selected. That's what they want. Ryan Poles wasn't the GM, okay? That's the bottom line. Ryan Poles was the director of college scouting in Kansas City when Patrick Mahomes was drafted, right? So we saw comps, talk about similarities to Patrick Mahomes during the career of Caleb Williams. He drafted Patrick. He probably saw some of that. I'm talking about Ryan Poles. That's why we are where we are right now.
All right, last one for you, Mel. On draft night, when you're sitting there, your crystal ball it for me. How many quarterbacks in a row to start?
I think obviously 1 and 2. It's Caleb and then Jaden. 3's interesting, Rich. I'll tell you, it's going to make or break a couple organizations. I think it's going to be Drake May. It's either going to be Minnesota moving up, New England moving out, and New England needs a quarterback just as much as Minnesota does. So 3-4 years from now, we're going to be looking at Minnesota or New England. Somebody's going to be smart. Somebody's going to be not real smart because both teams need quarterbacks. What happens at 3 is the whole pivotal point of the draft. I think May gets in there at 3, and then I think somehow JJ's up there. I don't know who gets them, and then Bo Nix I have at 12. So I think they're going to come off the board fast and furious. I think the key is going to be New England at 3, and Drake May is going to be the key quarterback because there's some mixed opinion on how great he can be.
And the guy that you love, that you think you'll be singing the hosannas for the team that gets the value pick by getting this kid in the first round, who do you think? Who do you love?
I think if he keeps dropping the way he is, the way some think, and I think he's going to go at 10, but some think he could drop to 15, 18. To me, it's Brock Bowers. He's a receiving entity. He's not a tight end. You can move him around anywhere you want. He's going to be a productive, consistent, reliable, major league weapon for a quarterback and a pass offense in a National Football League.
And you have him going to the Jets right now, huh? You got to go.
I do right now, but hey, they just got Mike Williams after I did that. They have the offensive line, but they have some age there and some injury issues. Do they take an insurance policy with a J.C. Latham from Alabama, who was a right tackle, but feels he has the skill set to be a left tackle? Troy Fautanu, a left tackle with longer arms than Joe Alt, who could kick the guard. Do they want that insurancy policy on that O-line, or do they want to take a guy like Bowers? So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do at 10 in terms of the New York Jets.
Man, I appreciate the time, Mel. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.